insomnia like I have for most of my life, this video is for you. I'm going to share my 2 top sleep habits that I've been nailing down since December and have tremendously supported both my sleep quantity and quality. I'm Sharon, a board-certified nutritionist also living with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. While I've had my thyroid well under control over the last 5 years, I still deal with insufferable insomnia sometimes. I used to take pride in not needing a ton of sleep, diving into the habit of waking up at 4 a.m. just so I could hit the gym by 5. And this was the rhythm of my morning every day since college because being that 5 a.m. girl made me feel so healthy. I thought 4 to 5 hours of sleep was good enough throughout the night as I pushed myself to live a high-achieving lifestyle, feeling like I was on top of the world. But in reality, I was miserable because I was suffering with insomnia. I recall many nights as a kid experiencing difficulty falling asleep, where my sister and I used to share a bedroom, and she would stun me every night because she would easily be able to fall asleep while I would lay there wondering how on earth she did that, ruminating on why my brain was the way it was, always thinking. And this continued well into our 30s, and now I feel envious of people who can fall asleep so easily as if it was an inborn skill, when the truth is, falling asleep is an involuntary motion that should simply happen. So a full disclosure before we get into the sleep habits is that they are not tried and true. I am merely sharing them as something that I've implemented over the last 3 months and have drastically improved my sleep throughout the time. And if I'm being honest, I was extra hesitant about making this video and talking about my vulnerability with insomnia because I was scared it was going to jinx me and derail my progress. I was getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep, if any. But now since I've implemented these practices over the 3 months, I've noticed I've been able to sleep a consistent 7 to 8 hours throughout the night, with many mornings of waking up and still wanting to crawl back into bed. So to get the obvious out of the way, make sure your sleep hygiene practices are dialed in. Things like no caffeine intake in the afternoon, 1 o'clock p.m. is my personal cutoff, ensuring your bedroom is at the ideal sleeping temperature. In Fahrenheit, it's about 60 to 68 Fahrenheit. Control all light and sound disruptors, especially if you're a sensitive sleeper. These are the foundations of sleep hygiene to making sure you can get the quality sleep that you need. So without further ado, let's get into the 2 sleep habits. The first one has to do with light exposure in reference to the sunlight and electronics. I read in a blog somewhere by a sleep coach, the quality of your sleep throughout the night starts in the morning, especially with your exposure to the sun. Every morning, I try to get direct sunlight onto my skin and into my eyes within 30 minutes of waking. And it's nice that we have our dog, so we'll usually take him for a short walk around the block. This habit of getting sunlight immediately kickstarts your circadian rhythm. This is your body's internal clock that helps dictate whether you should be awake or asleep. And light is the biggest influencer on how balanced your circadian rhythm is doing. Which brings me to the next part of light exposure, are electronics, in respect to blue light exposure throughout the day and well into the evening. Maybe you've heard by now, but blue light affects sleep and most definitely worsens insomnia. Our modern day society is infiltrated with blue light, from our cell phone usage to our laptops and computers to even the most common used light source in the household, the LED. Typically, I'll shut down my computer after my workday, and then I'll go in and activate my color filter on my cell phone, where it remains active until the next morning. And I believe every smart device would have the ability to activate the color filter. But you may not need to do this if you already have high quality and effective blue light filtering glasses. And this would be more effective because it'll filter out your entire environment, including the LED light bulbs. Since December, my phone usage in the evening has gone down drastically, but I still keep it around for my audiobook usage and Spotify. So I'm not really looking at it unless I'm engaging in my bad habit of doom scrolling. And I'd also add with electronics that has helped me was removing the phone from the bedroom during sleeping hours. For insomniacs who occasionally wake up throughout the night, it's easy to fall into the trap of checking that phone to see what time it is, and then recalculating how much time is left before we need to wake up for the next day. That really adds to the stress of trying to sleep. So adjusting your light exposure with sunlight and electronics can be a major win if you deal with chronic insomnia. However, I believe it's the second habit that truly stopped my vicious cycle with with insomnia. And that's my mindset about sleep and insomnia. Let me explain. So it's a natural habit for long-term insomniacs to obsess about sleep. That was definitely my story. Every second I was awake, I was so fixated on remedying my sleep, researching every study, every article, going down the Reddit rabbit hole, trying all of the hacks. Who knows how many sleep supplements I tried, from melatonin to valerian root, L-theanine, all the herbs from A to Z. And I'm not going to debunk these supplements, but sleep supplements should rarely be the first effective thing you grab as a method to support your sleep if you are a long-term insomniac. And not to mention, the people in your life probably know about all the details about your insufferable experience because we don't get shy about talking about our insomnia. So I bring all of this up because all of that perpetuates your unhelpful mindset around sleep, and that life continues to feel and be miserable because, well, you can't sleep. None of that is helpful because your constant chase with your mindset and your efforts to get the sleep that you are after is what's keeping your nervous system in high alert, and it holds you in that hamster wheel. And you know very well if this is true when by sundown you dread bedtime because of that all too familiar feeling of anxiety and worry about not being able to fall asleep or stay asleep. And that was the awful cycle that I was caught up in. And so I share this as a fellow insomniac, not a sleep specialist, because I am not one and I don't have all the answers. But what I do know is myself and my unhinged nervous system. So in my research, I did read about 2 books on the importance of getting sleep for our health, especially for women. But it wasn't until I read an article about the common mental fixation on sleep and its impact. And that article made me think like, wow, I never thought of it from that perspective, on that fixation to sleep. And it's just the same when we are thyroid warriors trying to fix the other common symptoms that we experience, isn't it? Maybe it's that mental fixation on trying to improve the sleep that is the thing that's holding us back. It was for me, and maybe you too. I know the thoughts and the worries are so hard to counter. So for my 3 months of sleeping well with these habits, I'll share the thing that helped me take my mind off of fixing my sleep was to engage more in life, to inject myself in anything and everything that invoked joy for me. I totally understand how difficult that can be when you're already sleep deprived. Maybe you have a 9 to 5 and maybe some little children in your life that you need to watch after. It seems almost impossible how you would be able to apply yourself to the joyful aspect of life. But it starts with one habit, one engagement. Apply it, and hopefully within a few weeks, you will start sleeping soundly. So adjusting your mindset around sleep is really about giving your nervous system the permission to do the things that spark joy, to relax, to let go, even when life is hard. So I want you to take a deep breath and just start there. So I figured with my unhinged nervous system, it was my mindset that was holding me back from getting the sleep that I needed. After I read that article, I was mind blown. All to say is, insomnia is no joke. It's a serious condition that may need to be supported professionally. So if you're somebody who has been dealing with this condition for such a long time and you've tried everything, I encourage you to seek real support. Ensure you have all your ducks in a row. Rule out sleep apnea with a sleep study, which is more common than we think, and to perhaps getting your airways and your breathing in check, which can be done through a myofascial therapist. Believe me, as a longtime sufferer of insomnia, there is hope out there to thrive with insomnia. You just have to tweak and find the right method for you. I hope you found this video valuable. Hit like and subscribe, as that would be so encouraging for me. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.